He said that I cannot admit that a person who does not drink alcohol and who has lawful wives, this person and the one who drinks alcohol and has no wife, both of them cannot be equal.
You say that I have, as if insulted as the Messiah, to some extent by using an abusive word, and he's saying to the Christian, reference to him, this is a misunderstanding of yours. I believe as the Messiah to be a true prophet, a chosen one, and a beloved servant of God. What I said in retaliation was in keeping with your own faith. Hence, it is you, not me, who stand accused of the accusation that you level at me.
No, that's not true, brother. Mirza Ghulam Qadiani, yes, he was writing against other religions, but within those writings, he has mentioned his position as well. If you look at this one example, because you started with the review, I want to end with this one, so we can finish the review reference first. It is in fact contradictory. That if we see one set of passages, Mirza is attacking Isa. If we see other set of passages, he is praising Isa. The references you quoting, Mirza says that those are thousands of good things about the Prophet. He says those few things which are very rare, such as Isa Asalam being with the prostitute. He said these things are there, that it is wrong and it is a blasphemy to say that an ulul azmi min ar-rusul, Isa Asalam of his time, in his time, he was not just one of hundreds of righteous. This is the, I would say with all respect, Brother Rahil, it is the animosity of Mirza Ghulam speaking here. Are they allegations on Isa or are they fact of the matter?
Of course, Isa did not, this is no fact of the matter. Ibn Taymiyyah was using Quran, the reference of Al-Ma'idah, to say that he turned water into wine, and that way
I give you the answer. You are giving us one answer. Mirza Ghulam is giving us a completely different answer, and his answer is confirming the allegations of the enemies of Isa. That's the point being discussed. And let me say something openly. You know what, Rahim? You have landed yourself in a quagmire.
You think so?
Yeah.
You think so?
I will prove it. Imran Bhai, entire Ahmadiyya does not believe in this hadith. Even 1% impact that why Mirza Ghulam Qadiani was true prophet. It has nothing to do with that. So don't create a false narrative, brother.
There's two particular points, two references I do want to delve into. One is with regards to the review of religions that you mentioned, and the other one is of, I think, Dafi'ul Bala. I think I also have that opened as well here, which I was just reading before I came on. So I want to address the review of religions first. I've got the entire volume in the library here in the English and also in the Urdu. So just want to address the context, because you mentioned something which depicts as if this is the belief of the Prophet Messiah, alayhi salatu wassalam.
If you could just put the reference up so that we can understand, everyone can understand what is being spoken about, Imtiaz, and then we can discuss. Or you can put it up, Rahil, you can put it up. We can discuss it then.
I've never shared my screen. I don't want to mess it up, but Imtiaz can put it up. But
just say present to the bottom.
One second.
I do it, no problem.
Yeah.
But I want to show the entire page actually.
No worries. You can read the whole page, no problem at all.
If you press present to the bottom, and it will give you the option of which window you want to choose. So you can select.
I'm just finding that on my. It's right here. I think I've got. Yeah. So perfect. Let me try to show this. Present, share screen.
So if you select a window, and then it will give you the options of the different windows you've got open.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do two. So I think I've got it opened right here. Can you see now?
So have you clicked on it? There it is. Come up. Yeah, I'll put it on the thing.
Perfect.
So just zoom in so that you can see the text.
So this is a review of religions. This is one of the first comparative religion magazines initiated by the Prophet ﷺ in 1902. This was a time when the West was ignorant completely of the Islamic teachings, and this was one of the first missionaries that are not just arrived in the UK but also in America and the West. But the point that I want to address is one of the passages that Brother Imtiaz has mentioned, three liners from here and then forward and stuff like that. There is a context to this which I want to mention for the listeners. This is a series of articles which was published, because one of the first editions was published in 1902 January, and in the second edition, which was published in February, one of the series of articles start by comparing the Unity versus Trinity, and it delves into this discussion with regards to the divinity of Jesus considered with reference to the extent to his mission, the divinity of Jesus considered with reference to alleged sinlessness, Jesus' use of wine, the viceroy speech, and many other things, the effect of drunkenness upon moral teaching. This is the one that I'm discussing now, March 1902, but it starts in February, and I think there are like 3-4 editions which are being discussed. So clearly, this is basically a refutation of the Trinitarian belief, which is based on many things, not just the fact that Jesus survived on the crucifixion, but many things they attribute towards as Isa ﷺ in the Bible to prove that his superiority over other prophets. I think you can see my screen, right? I do want to show some other things as well. Can you see this page now?
Rahil Bhai, can we go one by one? Let's stick
10 seconds and I'm finished. Just 10 seconds and I'm finished.
No, stick with the review first. The review one.
I'm sticking with the review. I'm telling you the importance of this. One of the most prominent Muslims, known as Abdullah Quilliam, and those who are from the UK would know, he was one of the first individuals who accepted Islam in the UK. One of the first ones. and one of the most prominent ones if you're in the UK. He mentions, and he actually subscribed to the Review of Religions and actually published the articles of Review of Religions in his own magazine, The Crescent, Al-Hilal, which used to be published from Liverpool. And he says the August number of Review of Religions published at Qadiani, India, is full of interesting matter. The article refuting charges made by the ignorant Christians with reference to our Holy Prophet is one of the ablest we have ever read upon the subject, and cordially commended to other readers. And he also published many other articles from it. So this is the context of the magazine. This is the context of the writings in which the Prophet ﷺ is speaking about. Now, the claim is that this is the view, and this is what the Prophet ﷺ believed based on the three writings. My contention with that is that when you're presented with other arguments and other categorical references where he says he was pious and he was from God, whereas this has a context that is his belief. For instance, when we say when the brother that just came before you, he mentioned a specific verse of the Holy Quran which says فَقْتُلُوهُمْ حَيْثُ ثَقِفْتُمُوهُم, that kill them wherever you should find them. That is a particular context in which that verse has been revealed. Whereas the general commandment of the Quran is man sha'a falyu'min wa man sha'a falyakfur. The Quran says whoever would like to believe, and who would like to reject, would like to reject. La ikraha fi din, qad tabayyana rushdu min al-ghayy. That there's no compulsion of religion in Islam. And whoever, the right and wrong has become apparent. And there are numerous verses. So brother Imran and brother Imtiaz, what I want to tell the listeners is that there are two contexts within the writings of the Prophet ﷺ. One where he's speaking from a specific context. Let's say he's sometimes also addressing for instance, in Dafi al-Bala, I'm not going to say he's addressing the Christians, because in his books he's addressing the Hindus. In the same book, in the same context, he's also addressing the Muslims. And in the same context, I will show he's addressing the Christians as well. So you can't say a particular book is, but there are other references which are categorical, and he makes it clear. For instance, Razi mentioned some references, and I can mention them as well, that this charge that is leveled against me, that I don't respect Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, is categorically false. I consider to be, him to be a chosen servant of Allah the Almighty, and many other references that we presented. So this is all I had to say for
Thank you very much, Rahil. Thank you very much. So let's inshallah deal with the review first. So inshallah, Rahil, if you want, I can display on the screen as well. When I prepared the whole case, Rahil, I first made the primary references, and that is not one of those. Then I made the supporting reference. Okay. Now, second point, Rahil, is I want to read for you, and you translate it alongside with me. So I don't want to mistranslate anything. So this is same review, volume 1, page 116. So Rahil, you will translate, I will read.
Wallahi, I accept your translation. I accept your translation.
Okay, no problem. Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Are we having 2 minutes each, or how is it going to work, brother Imtiaz? Shall I wait for you to finish and then I'll speak?
The moment you guys are just discussing nicely.
2 minutes is fine.
Don't want to interrupt.
Okay, I'll do 2 minutes.
Whatever brother Imtiaz is.
Yeah, okay. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Mirza Ghulam says, मैं शरीर इंसानों की तरह खाम खा की रिमायत नहीं करता. Mirza says, I do not stone at other people unnecessarily, और ना किसी खुदा के मुकद्दस और रास्तबाज पे बेहुदा हमले करना चाहता हूँ. And neither I want to attack a righteous one of Allah like the attacks of shame, बेहुदा. Okay. Then he says, लेकिन, however, मैंने खूब गौर करके देखा है. I have done very careful reflection. और जहां तक फिक्र काम दे सकता है, and as far as the human thinking can go, खूब सोचा है. I have thought very carefully. मेरे नजदीक, according to me, who is me? Mirza Ghulam. जबकि मसीह शराब से परहेज करने वाला नहीं था. According to me, when Messiah was not one of those who abstained away from alcohol, और कोई इसकी बीवी भी नहीं थी, and he did not have any wife either. Then he says that वो मैं मानता हूँ, although I admit कि खुदा ताला ने इसको भी बुरे कामों से बचाया. He said, although I admit that Allah saved him as well from the evil deeds, लेकिन मैं क्या करूं? But what can I do? मेरा तजुर्बा इस बात को नहीं मानता. My experience does not allow me to admit कि वो इसमत बीन, that righteous man, that good man, ऐसा कामिल हो सके, can be so perfect, जैसा कि वो दूसरा शख्स है जो शराब नहीं पीता और ना. He said that I cannot admit that a person who does not drink alcohol and who has lawful wives, this person and the one who drinks alcohol and has no wife, both of them cannot be equal. Now, Rahil, I want you to address, brother, in your turn, that how this passage started. Please address that. Thank you very much.
Okay, Jazakallah. Thank you so much, brother Imtiaz. So I'll take my time, and as I said, I'll probably have to repeat what I said, because the brother came before and he also mentioned this point of context. And, the context is the most important thing. So, brother Imran, I would like to, because this is available online, brother, to everybody. And it's translated into English. There's no issues. I want you to start from the very first edition of Trinity versus Unity and how this is being compared. And then when you come to this place, you would realize. Now, the point I'm saying is that it is for the writer to explain and for you to read, variety of his writings. If we did not find any evidence from the writings of the Prophet Muhammad which suggested that he believed, just as he mentioned in Nur al-Quran, or just as he mentioned in Malfuzat, or in Ismat al-Anbiya, Alaikum Asalam, in Ruhani Khazan, volume 18, where he says categorically that he was one of the hundreds of obedient servants of the law of Moses. Or when he says in Urdu, that I would say that वो खुद शरीयत को मानते थे और शागिर्दों को मानने के लिए फरमाया, that he used to believe in the Sharia of Moses and he used to advise the shagird, his servants, to follow the Sharia, right? Then he says, बस जबकि खुद मसीह इब्न मरियम की इसमत किसी तौर से साबित नहीं होती, लेकिन इंजीलों से बाज़ हरकत उसकी इंजीलों से बाज़ हरकत उसकी इसमत के बरखिलाफ साबित होती हैं, जैसा कि शराब पीने, etc. He says from the Bible. So this is why when someone is coming and the brother, you're not understanding the point, you don't understand the point. The point is correct that when we're coming and telling you to go back and read these things, we generally want you to go back and read that he's actually mentioning to the Christian. This was sent to the Christians here in the West when they were attacking the Holy Prophet ﷺ and their view of Islam and what they had. That Trinity is superior. And for that very fact, they actually entered in India to convert hundreds of thousands of Muslims to Christianity. And based on the belief that these Muslims had with regards to the ascension of Isa ﷺ, him being alive in the heavens, and him, bringing back the dead to life, all of these miracles, this is what I would address also in Dafi al-Bala reference. They had ascribed Jesus. And this is why, I don't know if you know a bishop of Lahore, his name was Bishop Lefroy. He was the one who actually challenged the Muslims in his time about, that Isa ﷺ is the only innocent prophet and he's the greatest prophet. So this is the context in which these books have been written down, and this is not the promised Messiah's view from the Quranic narrative, from the Quranic view, right? Because from the Quranic view, he clearly says, and I think my time's up, but just want to quickly mention, from the Quranic view, he says, you say that I have as if insulted as the Messiah, to some extent by using an abusive word. And he's saying to the Christian, reference to him, this is a misunderstanding of yours. I believe as a Masih to be a true prophet, a chosen one, and a beloved servant of God. What I said in retaliation was in keeping with your own faith. Hence, it is you, not me, who stand accused of the accusation that you level at me. Jange Muqaddas. So these are the references that we have. Now, I'm finishing off with the last statement. I understand from your perspective, and I have to be honest. I understand from your perspective that you can say, oh, these are contradictions because you are not a believer in the promised Messiah. There are two ways to, let's say the Christians, I'll listen to this guy called Shimon. He's very famous on TikTok and stuff like that. He attacks Islam and stuff like that. That's what he does. He picks a hadith from there, picks a Quranic verse from there and says, look, here's the contradiction. But as a believer, you find tatbiq, you find understanding in those two things. So for us, when there's a plethora of evidence from the promised Messiah himself, his categorical wording where he says he believes in this Isa ﷺ, then we as Ahmadis are going to go by that and are going to understand that in the context in which these books have been written, the review of religion, I don't know if you can see 1902, are the context that's stated in there. So for you to go back and read it, I think you'll be able to understand. I hope that makes sense.
So Rahil bhai, now inshallah, I have noted everything you said. Inshallah, I will respond them one by one. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So point number one, Rahil bhai, is you said that you need to check the context, that who he was talking to, who he wanted to refute. Rahil bhai, look at this point. Most of the writings of Mirza Ghulam, he is writing sometime to refute Hindus, sometime to refute Christians, and you know this very well, right? Obviously, what is his position on any matter, that is found within those writings, because there is no separate book Mirza Ghulam has produced. Okay, this book is in which I am going to document my position, and rest of the books they are only Islamic. No, that's not true, brother. Mirza Ghulam Qadiani, yes, he was writing against other religions, but within those writings, he has mentioned his position as well. If you look at this one example, because you started with the review, I want to end with this one, so we can finish the review reference first.
Yeah.
Rahil bhai, alhamdulillah, I have read the 13 or 14 page article, the whole article on this. I have the full review with me, alhamdulillah, as well. So after reading the whole article of 13 or 14 pages, then I have put these references that what Mirza Ghulam is trying to say. And as you can see, Rahil, look at the beginning. Mirza says that I do not want to throw stones of blames like the wicked people, and I do not want to attack God's holy and righteous people. He said, I don't want to say something out of nothing. And then he gave the reason. He said that, but now after everybody can see, Rahil, that this writing on this issue is telling us that what Mirza Ghulam has come up after careful reflection and pondering. That is one point, brother. Second point, brother, is that you said that you need to do the tatbiq. You need to reconcile tatbiq between the. Now, Rahil bhai, you admitted that I am presenting one set of reference. You guys are quoting another set of reference. The one which I am presenting, in which Mirza Ghulam is attacking Isa alayhi salam with regard to this one, alcohol and prostitute, and the one you are presenting, Mirza Ghulam is praising Isa alayhi salam, and you admitted that these two are contradictory. How to reconcile them? Now listen, Rahil, carefully.
I didn't say that.
When it comes, last point.
No, you said I said that's contradictory. I didn't say that. It didn't come out of my mouth. I did not say that.
Rahil, okay, Rahil, when you, no problem. When you go back, Rahil, you can check it, okay?
I said from your perspective, it may be contradictory. That's
okay,
different
no
from me saying it's contradictory.
maybe you have said this, okay. Now what I'm saying, Rahil, is it is in fact contradictory. That if we see one set of passages, Mirza is attacking Isa. If we see other set of passages, he's praising Isa. Now your point is valid, that you need to do the tatbiq. Guess what, Rahil? You don't need to. Mirza Ghulam himself in Triyakul Kulub, he spent 5 pages. And I am inviting you, Rahil, open those 5 pages, read all the 5 pages. Mirza Ghulam has done the tadbiq. What is tadbiq? Mirza Ghulam said that Prophet, now the reference you quote, Rahil, Mirza has given the answer that the Prophet, they have thousands of good things. That's what you are quoting, Rahil. And then Mirza Ghulam says, but they are very rare few things which are from the mutashabihat. They are disgusting. They are shameful. Allow me to finish. Allow me to finish. I will give you evidence. I'll give you the evidence. I'm saying that Tadbiq Mirza Ghulam has done, the references you quoting, Mirza says that those are thousands of good things about the Prophet. He says those few things which are very rare, such as Isa alayhi salam being with the prostitute. He said these things are there as mutashabihat, and Allah want to test the people. Allah is the one who let these things happen. Why? To hide his noble people from the eyes of the wicked. So I am not doing tadbiq or reconciliation. Mirza Ghulam himself has done tadbiq.
Whether it took some time, I hope I'll be given
the same time.
No problem. So the point I want to address is, look, I think that the issue is not of argument. It's been going on for very long time. I think we need to understand what each of us are saying. You said produce a book in which the Promised Messiah Islam has mentioned his belief, and particularly as you see when Rahmatullah Qadiani in his book Bible se Quran tak, when he said things such as इस तरह बेरैश लड़कों का इख्तिलाक बड़ा खतरनाक है, and then he mentioned कि गौर करें कि बल्कि बाद आप गौर करें कि ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम जब शराब नोशी में हद इत्तदाल से इस कदर आगे निकले हुए थे, नाउजुबिल्लाह, ईसा अलैहिस्सलाम, he didn't say नाउजुबिल्लाह, I'm saying नाउजुबिल्लाह, that Isa salam had gone alayhissalam as well. So some jahil on Twitter said that I had said alayhissalam, that means we are attacking Isa alayhi salam. So here's Rahmatullah Qadiani, your scholar, and he's also a scholar because Hazrat Maulana Hakim Nuruddin Sahib, who was Afas Khalifa, also studied under him in Makkah and Medina. So the point what I'm saying here is we understand his point of view, what he's trying to say. But you then have to find me, a separate book in which says Rahmatullah Qadiani said, this is my belief about Isa alayhi salam. I've given you the belief of the Promised Messiah Islam from Jang-e Muqaddas. His categorical statement, what he believes in the Promised Messiah Islam. Are you getting my point? So I have given those references which are categorically clear, where he clarifies his position, where he says that he was one of the hundreds of obedient servants of the law of Moses, or that we don't attack him because he was truthful and all of these things. As far as the reference of Tariqul Qulub is concerned, I think Razi has dealt with it. I don't want to go back to it again. The point of Tariqul Qulub, right? I'm addressing these two references, and I want to stick. What determines in what manner in which a guy speaks? It's the context. What is the context? It's not just 3 or 4 lines. It's the time in which he's living. Who is he addressing? The context in which these books are written, and who are they sent to? Where are they published? What is the title of Trinity versus Christianity? He's not mentioning his own belief. That's what we're trying to say, because his belief is categorically stated elsewhere when it comes to the Quran and the Quranic narrative. So I think this is all I wanted to mention with regards to it. But I think we can move on to, let's say, Dafiul Bala. But if you have any question about this, but I mean, my only thing was to come here and clarify it for people. Yeah. I would say certain things, you would say certain things. I want people to go back and read the source. I want Brother Imran to go back and read the source. Because you said you've got 16 or 17 pages. It's not just that. This is the second edition. This is the second version of Unity versus Trinity. The first version was published in February 1902. So I think you need to start from there, and then it goes forward, in many editions. So
just to clarify one thing, then, so if there's a place where Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, in the reference you've given, the Review of Religion, says that he's looked at something carefully and has come to a conclusion, should we take that as his conclusion, or is saying that that's not his conclusion?
That's based on what he's looked in the Bible.
His conclusion, though, or is it the biblical
based
conclusion?
On the biblical, I'll tell you. So he's saying, he's talking to the Christians now, right? He's writing Trinity versus Unity. He's giving various evidences, right? And among those evidences, as I just mentioned, that how divinity, how unity, is greater than Trinity, and how Trinity is false. He says the divinity of Jesus considered with reference to the extent of his mission. He addresses that, and it's all in a way you would find ilzami. It's all in a way it's a response. What's the word? Accusative response. Because on the other side, they're attacking unity. So in the same manner, he's saying, based on what you're presenting as evidence, when I look at that, it is the Quran. Because when you read Dafiul Bala, he says, based on the Quran, Allah has done this great favor upon us in the Quran. He said, wajihan, fi dunya wal akhirah, wa min al muqarrabin, that he was, a truthful person, waji, a very respectful person in this world and in the hereafter. And he was among the chosen people.
The point that I was asking you about was specifically when he says that he's come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
In any text,
based on the
in any text, if he says, I have looked at it carefully and reflected, I've come to a conclusion.
So let's say this. Yeah.
I'm just want to understand, because what you're saying is that conclusion, because it's in that book, is not his opinion.
Yes, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I'll tell you why.
That's all I wanted to hear. That's all I wanted to hear.
That's good. Why that? It's just an example. Is all of those references of ulama that we're using, like Razi mentioned Ibn Qayyim, Ibn Taymiyyah, and also the reference of Maulana Qadiani Sahib. Now he doesn't say my belief is this. He just given an accusative answer. the person who reads it understands that what he's talking about here, as an alim who believes in Isa alayhi salatu wasalam to be a prophet of God, he doesn't believe in this. He doesn't believe him to be a drunkard. He doesn't believe him to be, going around and meeting women and all of these things. I think you get my point. This is when we read the Prophet Muhammad's writings and we know the context in which he's writing these books. It's very much apparent to us. So it's kind of strange that we're spending.
I understand. So when you get to the well, actually, I mean, for me, it's been very eye-opening. So when you get to the state where Mirza Ghulam Ahmad is using the Quran to confirm the false narrative of the Bible about the accusation that was presented earlier to one of the other Ahmadi, what do you do with that? Do you do the same thing then?
Say that again.
When Mirza Ghulam Ahmad uses the reference about Yahya being called chaste in the Quran and Isa alayhi salam not being chaste in the Quran, and he uses as an evidence to confirm the accusations that the people are making about Isa alayhi salam, the Christians, he confirms that narrative from the Quran. What are we to do with that?
Is this Dafi al-Balagha reference?
So we can put the reference up for you.
Let me explain for him.
Please. No, I'm passing. Is this that?
We'll put the reference up and show you because what I'm saying is that I understand because what's happening is this conclusion that's being made here that you says it's not his opinion actually matches the conclusion that is made there with the using the Quran as an evidence. So now we have a problem now where we have what it seems to be the case is it's not the dominoes aren't stacking up. So brother Imtiaz, you present that you can go ahead and present the reference.
Yes, Imran bhai, inshallah I will present that as well. So because Rahil, this point is coming continuously that Rahmatullah Qadiani was saying this was saying this. This is the exact one I just mentioned. When Mirza Ghulam is quoting Quran to affirm his conclusion he made from the Bible, that is the question, and that is what makes Mirza Ghulam's narrative unique. Because if you will, if you think, Rahil, that other scholars, either Ibn Taymiyyah or any of the great scholars, they made a point from the Bible and then they brought Quran as evidence to confirm that biblical allegation. If you are saying that is the case with all the scholars, with all respect, Rahil, that's not true. Okay. Secondly, you said that, this thing is, I was on purpose, Rahil, on purpose, I was ignoring one thing which was being said repeatedly, that he was one of the hundreds of righteous of his time. That is wrong. As a prophet of Allah of that time, he is the most righteous person of that time. This is our belief. Wait. A prophet, I explained. A prophet of Allah, like in this case, Isa alayhi salam, according to Quran, he is from the Ulul Azmi Minar Rusul, from the 5 Ulul Azm prophet, Ibrahim, Nuh, Musa, Isa, Muhammad sallallahu. These 5. He is one of these 5 prophets, and each one of them in his time he was the greatest of all prophets. And when we talk about all the prophets, then Nabi Muhammad sallallahu is the greatest of all. Okay, so this statement itself, it is not representing Ahlul Sunnah's view that a Ulul Azm prophet in his time, just one of the hundreds of righteous, that's called blasphemy. That's called blasphemy. If you think, Rahil, don't shake that. It's not academic, brother. It's not academic. Just stay still. Just
I
still.
agree with you, so
if you are saying that there were other people, obviously we only know 2 prophets who are contemporary, Yahya and Isa. Yahya and Isa, right? Now you need to tell us who were those 99 other people, at least other people 99, who were more righteous or who were equally righteous than Isa. You need to tell us, okay? And last point.
But I can't deal with 10 different points, The issue is...
I just only said 2 points. Okay. Point number one was that Mirza Ghulam is using Quran to support his biblical conclusion. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is Isa alayhi salam is not just one of hundreds of righteous of his time. Isa alayhi salam, as a Ulul Azmi Minar Rusul of his time, he is the most righteous human being on the planet of that time.
Okay, Jazakumullah.
Okay, these are 2 points. Points. My request to you, Rahil, is address these 2 so we can go point to point.
Can you repeat them again? So I'll just quickly write them down.
Point number one, Mirza Ghulam is using Quranic argument to justify and confirm his biblical conclusion that why Isa was not called righteous or Husuran or chaste. Okay. Second point is that it is wrong and it is a blasphemy to say that an Ulul Azmi Minar Rusul, Isa alayhi salam, of his time, in his time, he was not just one of hundreds of righteous. This is I would say with all respect, Brother Rahil, it is the animosity of Mirza Ghulam speaking here. Why? Because Isa alayhi salam, as a Ulul Azmi Minar Rusul, he is the most righteous of his time. These are 2 points.
Jazakallah. Thank you so much. So your first point about the Prophet Muhammad using Quranic argument, right, to establish a biblical position. So I want to read something to you from a Jawab al-Sahih liman baddala din al-Masih. This is, who wrote this book here? Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah. He writes, وَهَذَا أَعْظَمُ مِنْ إِنزَالِ الْمَسِيحِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ لِلْمَائِدَةِ. We find... Allahumma anzil alayna ma'idatan min as-sama. Yes, I'll give you the reference. Yeah. It's page 19 of Al-Jawab al-Sahih liman baddala din al-Masih, al-Mujallid al-Rabi'. Okay? He says, وَهَذَا أَعْظَمُ مِنْ إِنزَالِ الْمَسِيحِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. Alayhi salam is also used. He says this is the most greatest thing that was sent down to Isa to Masih alayhi salam, lil Ma'idah, about him, about his asking for Ma'idah. In the Quran we have Allahumma anzil alayna ma'idatan min as-sama. Wa min qalbi al-ma'i khamra. Can you translate the brother Imtiaz?
Brother, please you read
You will
and
translate
translate.
it.
It's
Yeah.
your reference. It's your reference.
So he's saying that the greatest inzal al-Masih alayhi salatu wasalam of Ma'idah, which is we find in the Holy Quran, Allahumma anzil alayna ma'idatan min as-sama, was khamr. Was what? Was alcohol. So are you suggesting here that Ibn Taymiyyah's belief is that he's accepting the biblical narrative when alcohol is mentioned in the Bible, or is he giving an ilzami jawab? Is he giving an accusative answer? So you see how the logic doesn't work here. Ulama have used the same tactics. So this is a reference. You mentioned something from the Quran, and I've clearly given you. I think we need to put up.
Rahil, wait.
Yes.
I will put on the screen the reference I am quoting, and let's see what we are saying, so we can properly engage with the reference. Okay, and now the reference you are quoting, in any discussion we have to be honest. Okay, I have noted down the reference, Brother Rahil. Now it is my moral obligation to go back, check the reference, and when you come next time, I promise you I will come back, because right now I have not read the reference. I don't want to say something without reading that.
No problem.
It's fair.
No problem.
Now,
so can I do one thing, Brother Imtiaz? Can I read the correct translation?
Please.
This is greater than Christ sending down a table spread with food and turning water into wine, right? So turning water into wine was the best thing, right? So this is the reference I've mentioned. So you need to go back and read it, inshallah. And you can.
And secondly, Rahil, I would be very honest with you. I absolutely did not get that by quoting this reference. What did you prove?
Oh yeah, I'll address that. So by quoting this reference, what I proved is that at times it doesn't have to be that if you mention a Quranic verse to give an accusative answer, that you believe that thing was true. You're giving an accusative answer, because by definition, an accusative answer is a deduction. You're deducting something. And this is something we had a long conversation about ilzami jawab and what it means, and we went to the definitions. It doesn't have to be, I proved it doesn't have to be mentioned in a book. There's no book which says that ilzami jawab has to be mentioned in a book, or else you can prove the evidence, right? So this is the point. But the second point was about
unless of course the thing is
second point. Second point.
So unless of course the Quranic ayah that's used is specifically used to clarify and affirm the point in the conclusion.
Because you see the Christians, I'll tell you what the Christians were using.
So the best thing is look at the verse, look at the reference that was provided, because it's not a short reference. It's actually clarifying. It's actually clarifying the position and affirming it using the Quran.
But then Imtiaz, can you slightly go up? I want to pull it up on the screen.
No worries. I do, no problem.
The Urdu,
yes, no, I do.
The actual reference from Rouhani Khazan. Is it Dafil Bala? Yeah, just confirming.
Yes.
Okay, so now have a read and you understand, and look at the difference between the what you're describing and what's happening here.
I want to describe this because there was two references. One I came and said I specifically want to address. One was the one I addressed with regards to this, and also review of religions, and now about that Dafil Bala. So Dafil Bala, it actually begins not on page 220, but actually begins on page 218, right? And this way the Prophet ﷺ mentions that जिस पैगाम को हम इस वक्त अपने अजीज़ान मुल्क के पास इस रिसाला के जरिए से पहुंचाना चाहते हैं, उनकी निस्बत हमें अंबिया अलैहिस्सलाम के कदीम तजुर्बा की रूह से ये साबित है कि सरेदस्त इस हमारी हमदर्दी का कदर यही होगा कि फिर दोबारा हम इस्लाम के मौलवियों और ईसाई मजहब के पादरियों और हिंदू मजहब के पंडितों से गालियां सुनेंगे. Let me clarify what he's saying. He's saying that what I'm about to present to you, right, as an evidence, is everything okay, Brother Imran?
Yeah, it's fine, please.
You chuckled. I don't know if I said something funny.
No, I see this often. I'm good at recognizing patterns, alhamdulillah. And so one of the patterns I see often is you're giving a specific reference, and you did this with the previous reference as well. You stepped back and you gave a general conclusion. This is a book against Christians, and a very general, not dealing with the specifics. And in this thing, it's the same pattern. You said, "Oh, it doesn't start here. It starts X number of pages before." And then what you do is you're going to general, and what we're asking you specifically about is the Quranic verse being used to support the narrative and the reference you were given. So either you can say the reference is wrong, or I can show you from the context in which it was mentioned that the reference is being interpreted incorrectly. But what you're doing is you're going back however many pages, and really what you're saying is I don't understand the relevance to this, but anyway.
I'll tell you why. So because the point, you see, Brother Imran, all of these discussions, they have a wider context, and the issue is you're saying deal with the three liners. You don't deal with the three liners. You have to discuss the context. And you just mentioned the context, that you should deal with the context. Why I was mentioning that one page before is the fact that at times this point is raised that in the Promised Messiah, if he's writing a book to Muslims, or if his ishtihar or an advertisement is going to Muslims, then he can't mention a biblical Messiah, as if that is some sort of a rule that we have concocted. The point here specifically, he says, I'm about to mention some to the beloved people of this land. Among them are Christians, among them are Muslims, and among them are Hindus. But I expect, as the previous messengers were mocked and ridiculed, the same I would be treated in the same manner. Okay, and this is where it all begins. This is the context I wanted to mention. And then he goes forward and discusses all of these things. And then he comes to the point where he says that Hazrat Isa alayhi salam, like the mazhab, the Christianity is not the true true religion in which that it can grant you salvation, right? And he says that Hazrat in तमाम मज़ाहिब में से कौन सा ऐसा मज़हब है जिसका शफाअत करना और मुनज्जी के बुजुर्ग लफ्ज़ का मिस्ताक होना साबित होता है? That which religion is true in its claim of calling us towards salvation? सच्चे मुनज्जी को हर एक शख्स चाहता है कि उससे मोहब्बत करता है. Like everybody loves one who grants salvation. अब दिन आ गए हैं कि साबित हो. हम मसीह इब्न मरियम को बेशक एक रास्तबाज आदमी जानते हैं और अपने ज़माने के अक्सर लोगों से अलबत्ता अच्छा था. He was better than those who were in his right. Then he says, "Wallahu a'lam."
Translate properly, Rahil. Translate properly. अपने ज़माने के अक्सर लोगों से अच्छा था. Translate it properly.
That he was better than most of the people in would that be correct?
Okay, it means that they were people in his time, they were better than him, right?
There could be a possibility, and I have to be true.
No, not possibility, not possibility.
Because I tell you what, let me complete, and you can refute me, not a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, because he puts a star on Aksar logo.
Yes.
He puts a star on Aksar logo, and there's an appendix underneath it, right?
Yeah, let's read the star.
Yes, let's read the appendix. And then he says, याद रहे कि ये जो हमने कहा है कि मसीह अपने ज़माने के बहुत लोगों की निस्बत अच्छे थे, ये हमारा बयान महज नेक ज़नी के तौर पर है, वरना मुमकिन है कि now look, I've established that he's speaking to Christians above, he's addressed them. So nobody can say that, oh, he's speaking to Muslims, so he can't mention a biblical Messiah. He can't use an accusative language. That I have already established. He says, where's the first one now? Let me finish, brother Imtiaz, please.
Okay,
It's
okay,
good, it's
okay.
good. Please.
Okay.
वरना मुमकिन है, ये बयान महज नेक ज़नी के तो वरना मुमकिन है कि ईसा इस्लाम के वक्त में खुदा ताला की मुमकिन है. वरना मुमकिन है. There's a possibility कि ईसा इस्लाम के वक्त में खुदा ताला की ज़मीन पर बाज रास्तबाज अपनी रास्तबाजी और ताल्लुक बिल्लाह में हज़रत ईसा से भी अफजल और आला हों. That there's a possibility that at the time of Isa Islam there will be some people who were greater than him in their ta'alluq billah, in the relationship with Allah Almighty, and being greater than him. Possibility. क्योंकि अल्लाह ताला ने उनकी निस्बत फरमाया, because Allah Almighty says in the Holy Quran, वजीहन फिद दुनिया वल आखिरा व मिनल मुकर्रबीन व मिनल मुकर्रबीन. Yet he was among those who had reached nearness of Allah Almighty. Then he continues, जिसके माने ये हैं, the meaning of which is, okay, उस ज़माना के मुकर्रबों में से एक, he was among those who were मुकर्रबीन. This is the translation of the Holy, right? The plain translation I'm doing. Then he says, और इससे ये साबित नहीं होता कि वो सब मुकर्रबों से बढ़कर, this does not prove that he was greater than all of the मुकर्रब. Then he continues, but इस बात का इम्कान निकलता है कि बाज़ मुकर्रब ज़माने में बेहतर हों, that some might be better than him, because he had come only for the lost sheep of Israel. And then the Quran says about certain anbiya lam naqsus, that we haven't mentioned their name. Okay.
Can I respond, Rahil? Please, we are going too much forward. Can I respond now?
Please.
Okay, Rahil, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rahil, can you please note down one question you need to address in your turn? So my question, Rahil, is,
yes,
is it true that any person or any enemies of Isa alayhi salam were accusing him of anything? Is it true that he is a sinner or he drinks alcohol? Was somebody accusing Isa of anything? Let me repeat. They, as Razi said before, they were enemies of Isa. Apparently they were Jews, I guess, and they were accusing Isa alayhi salam that Maazallah, he drinks alcohol, he goes to prostitutes, so he's not righteous, right?
I think as far as the reference that's coming to my mind, they accused him of divinity, that you claim to be God.
That's not brother. Look,
and also there is, sorry,
because you are saying, brother, look, you are saying that Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is going to give accusative answer. So we need to understand that what question he is going to answer. Do you agree with me? So do you agree with me that they were enemies of Isa alayhi salam? They were accusing him of these things like alcohol and prostitute?
They were accusing him of being prostitute.
Let me rephrase my question.
Yeah.
When people were saying that Maazallah, Isa, he drinks alcohol, he has around him prostitutes, was it an allegation or was it a fact of matter?
If they did say it was not a fact of matter. It was an allegation.
So basically, okay. So basically, people are, according to you, point to point. So Rahil, according to you, as you just said, there were people in the time of Isa alayhi salam, they are putting these heinous allegations, Maazallah, that he drinks alcohol or he has inappropriate link with the prostitute. These were allegations put against Isa alayhi salam. How did Mirza, wait. How did Mirza Ghulam respond to these allegations?
No. I think you're missing two things here. I will address this point directly. Yes, there were in his time, and Maulana Qadiani Sahib in his book Izala Oham in Jil 2 also mentioned the reference of he says Matti Bab 11 ayat 19 18 and 19. So Matthew 11 18 19 and Luke Bab 7 ayat 34 में इस तरह इरशाद है.
Let me repeat my question, Rahil, and then you give me a clear answer. My question is it true that these things of alcohol and prostitute, are these allegations on Isa alayhi salam or not?
Yes, they are. They are allegations upon Isa.
Okay. So basically, obviously, the enemies of Isa alayhi salam, they are putting allegations on his character about alcohol drinking and about being with the prostitutes. Now, my question is, Rahil, how did Mirza Ghulam respond to this allegation?
Brother, I don't understand your question. I think you're playing word games.
No, Rahil, no.
Your question
Look, Rahil, wait.
Your question wasn't this. Your question was something else. Now you've changed it. Your question was, I remember,
Rahil,
in the Bible, whether in the Bible, Isa alayhi salam were accused of these things. That was your question. And I said, yes.
Can I say again what my question is?
Yeah, please go on. Because don't change it. Stick to the question.
Look, Rahil. There's no trick question here. I want to understand your position. Let me say it in a clear term, just in case if I made it in a way you did not get first time. My question is, these two things, that Ma'azallah Isa alayhi salam was alcoholic and he used to be with the prostitutes in an inappropriate manner. These two things, are these allegations on Isa alayhi salam or are these facts?
I know what you're getting to. You're trying to say the promise.
No, wait, brother.
We're not going step by step because I'm addressing with your allegation before you even mention.
No.
This is the beauty of the whole thing. But you're trying to assert.
I like your beauty, but I want to understand the point, not just the beauty. My question is, Rahil, people are saying these two things, that Ma'azallah Isa alayhi salam is alcoholic and he has inappropriate link with the prostitute. Are these two things, are they allegations on Isa or are they fact of the matter?
Of course, Isa alayhi salam did not, this is no fact of the matter.
Okay, so these are two, okay, wait, I got it. So, okay, we both agree that these two are allegations on Isa. Did Mirza Ghulam answer these allegations?
The promised Messiah has addressed, here specifically, he's addressed a different point, because the Christians are using the Quran. Listen, let me finish. The Christians were using Quranic verses, and I mentioned a particular person. I named a particular person, Bishop Lefroy, and I can share that inshallah in the next when we have time. What Quranic verses he was using to establish the superiority of Isa alayhi salam, such as ruh. These words are being used for Isa alayhi salam in the Holy Quran. Therefore, he's superior than all of the prophets. Not just that, but he's God, right? So they were using the Quran in the time. For instance, I'll give you one more verse, Brother Imtiaz. You might say this is a digression, no problem. It says, Quran was asked, like Quran, the Holy Prophet sallallahu asked to ascend to the heaven. What was his response? فَقُلْ سُبْحَانَ رَبِّي هَلْ كُنْتُ إِلَّا بَشَرٌ رَسُولٌ. That I'm only a bashar and a rasul. I'm only a man and a rasul. Which means a bashar and rasul cannot go to heaven. I'm just giving you the psyche, these Quranic verses they were using. Therefore, they said, if a bashar and rasul cannot go up, Isa alayhi salam is God. So this is one of the references that these guys were using. Now, let's come back to this. The Promised Messiah used the same Quran here, okay, and answers them saying that for Hazrat Yahya alayhi salam, the word hasur has been, which has not been used for Isa alayhi salam. Are you getting my point?
No, listen my point right now. Now it's my turn. Now you listen. Okay, one point we both have agreed, that there are two allegations on Isa alayhi salam, that Ma'azallah, alcohol and prostitute. Now, there are two ways to answer the allegation. First way is that these are fabrication and lies. Isa was free of them. Second is to admit them, to concede with them, and then try to explain that why he did these two things. My question, Rahil, is which one of these two Mirza Ghulam took? Either he said that these are fabrication and lies against Isa and he rejected them, or he conceded and accepted them and he confirmed them. Which one he took?
He never confirmed them based on the categorical writings that we have presented. The specific reference we're mentioning.
Point to point.
As a specific context which I mentioned, he's speaking to Christians. He mentioned Muslims. So Christians are mentioned in this. And I mentioned to you that ruh and kalima was used by them to state that he's superior than every other prophet. So the Prophet ﷺ says, if you're saying ruh and kalima makes him superior, the word hasur has not been used for him in the Quran. It's only been used for this. And your Bible says in your scripture that he was a drunkard and these allegations were raised by people. Therefore, that doesn't make him superior. But his own position is clarified where? In the categorical reference that we mentioned to you. So why is it, Brother Imtiaz, that you go to these references and you don't mention the other references?
Okay, I give you the answer. Now, Rahil, my request to you is please don't interrupt me for next 1 minute. Okay. So you said there were two allegations from the enemies of Isa alayhi salam, prostitutes and alcohol. Now, there are two ways in which somebody can address this allegation. One is which Muslim use. We say all of these is fabrication, lies, Isa is free of them. That is one way. Second way is to concede their point and to give them evidence from the Quran that you are right actually, because that's the reason, I got it now, that's the reason that Quran does not call Isa Hasuran. Why? Because of these two very things. So I'm asking you, and I'm asking you, Rahil, you are clear, viewers are very clear. Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is not taking the first position, rather he is taking the second position. He is conceding and he is giving them evidence from the Quran that yes, that is true, that Isa was having these two issues. That's why he's not called Hasuran.
Acha,
That's the
brother,
point.
listen. Okay, good. I think this is your flawed understanding, with all due respect. Why? Because I mentioned to you, because there are different references. So there are two categories of references. If I didn't have a reference where any inference was taken from the Quran by Ibn Taymiyyah, I may have not been able to make this. He uses a specific Quranic reference, yet uses it as an accusative answer, right? So you said you're going to go back and read it and come back and address this point. So,
but whatever you read, it has not what you are saying.
For instance, explain.
Because I'm telling you, Brother Rahil, that Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is using Quran to confirm the allegations of enemies of Isa alayhi salam.
He's not
And this is
confirming.
not
Okay, so Ibn Taymiyyah,
wait.
Ibn Taymiyyah is
According
confirming.
to Mirza Ghulam, according to Mirza Ghulam,
According to your logic, Ibn Taymiyyah was using Quran, the reference of Al-Ma'idah, to say that he turned water into wine, and that way
I give you the answer. I give you the answer.
Do you think he believes this? It's in the same narrative.
Wait. I give you the answer.
Yeah.
Okay, Rahil. According to Mirza Ghulam, why Allah did not call Isa as Hasuran?
What do you mean? I've already answered it. I don't know why you.
No. You
want to
said,
get out of
look,
this. I've already
wait.
answered. Yes.
Let me speak. You answered that Kalimatullah, Ruhullah. I'm not saying all of that. I'm saying to you a simple question, and please hear it out. I'm saying that according to Mirza Ghulam, what is the reason that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not call Isa alayhi salam as Hasuran? What is the reason?
The two reasons that Prophet Muhammad Islam is given from a biblical narrative is their view. So he's speaking to Christians and telling them.
Okay.
So if they are using Quranic verses to say he's superior than other prophets, he uses the same Quranic verses from the Quran. He says, but for Isa alayhi salam, the Hasur word is not used, right?
Why?
So that makes Yahya superior than him. Are you getting my point? Are you getting
I am getting your point. Look, Rahil.
What's the issue?
I speak right. Wait. You know, Rahil, what's happening is...
The issue is very clear. Sorry, go on.
One second. Rahil, what's happening is you are accepting an equation, but that equation gives a necessary conclusion. You want to avoid the necessary conclusion, but you accept all the premises and equation. What it means? Mirza Ghulam Qadiani is telling us that the reason Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ma'azallah, has not called Isa Husuran because of alcohol and prostitute. And you know, Mirza said, now it means that by saying this, Mirza Ghulam is confirming the allegations of the enemies that Isa alayhi salam, ma'azallah, used to have alcohol and prostitute. This is a necessary conclusion. I don't know how you try to avoid it.
The necessary conclusion that you are drawing without the context in which it's being spoken. If there was no mention of Ruh and Kalima by the Christians to suggest Isa is greater than other prophets and other verses of the Holy Quran, and then the Prophet Messiah used Hasuran out of nowhere, he brought this verse and said, and the Bible says this and confirmed it, then your point would be valid. And on the second point, the second point, if you didn't have those categorical references where the Promised Messiah ﷺ mentions his own belief about Isa ﷺ, what he believes him to be, then you can have this point.
I answer now. But yes, I answer.
This is the conclusion that you're drawing. But I think we're never gonna agree on this, brother Imtiaz. You know,
there's a simple way of.
No. You said something. Imran Bhai, you can't talk. Imran Bhai.
So it's a very simple way. So there's a problem with this approach that you're taking. So so today, if someone said to you that Isa alayhi salam is in Jesus in the Quran is called Ruhullah and he's called these things and therefore he's greater, what are you going to do?
Say that again. Sorry.
If someone gave that question to you today, that Jesus, peace be upon him, is greater than any other prophet or the Prophet Muhammad because he's called and given titles in the Quran, whatever those titles are, how would you respond to that?
I would respond say, because that's a very beautiful question. Why that is? Because Allah Almighty says in the Quran, "Jaza'u sayyi'atun sayyi'atun mithluha," right? That the recompense of bad that has been done is the like thereof. Now, for you to understand in the context of the Prophet ﷺ and not read what they've written about the Holy Prophet ﷺ and Islam.
I'm asking you a very straightforward question.
One second. No, I'm giving you. So my response would be in this scenario, if someone comes and says, look, my brother, and we're having a normal conversation at Hyde Park Corner, someone comes to Brother Imran or me and says, look, the Quran uses kalima and these words for Isa. That makes him greater than other prophets. I would say, no, that's not necessarily the case, because there are words that have been used for other prophets to describe their distinct characteristics or attributes. That doesn't necessarily prove that he was greater than other prophets of Allah the Almighty, right? But if that person, for instance, at the time, I'm talking about the time of Prophet ﷺ, if they were calling our Rasul Zani, an adulterer, if they were calling our mothers such names, and they were not, despite the fact that Prophet ﷺ has explained, all of this matter, and they were not stopping, and the mirror had to be shown. The Bible had to be shown. That's why
The
Quran
Bible
is
is not being, but Rahil, the Bible is not being shown to
It is, because he
no,
mentioned
the Quran is being shown to them.
because they use the Quran. That's the
Yeah,
point.
so I understand. That's why I'm
They use
asking
the
you.
Quran.
So explain to me how.
Husur is
Explain to
given,
me.
but their own biblical. You see, it's just a way of speech. So the two biblical points where allegations raised on him, that is raised, and says maybe that was the reason Husur was not used for him. But did he believe that? If we didn't have other references to suggest that he was the muttaqi and he was mukarram min Allah, you were right.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question. Is the Quran being misrepresented here?
Quran is being misrepresented.
No, I'm asking you a question. Is the Quran? I'm asking you a question. Is the Quran being misrepresented here?
Is the Quran being misrepresented when Ibn Taymiyyah is giving the reference?
So I'm asking you this question. You can
not.
first
It's
one
not.
second. One second. Okay, one
It's
second.
not.
First
It's
thing
not.
to do is, and this is another pattern.
Okay.
This is another pattern that we see. You refuse to give your position as an Ahmadi to the Muslims who are watching.
Okay.
Why do the Ahmadi not want to give us their position?
My position is.
I don't. One second, I'm going to explain, because this is the whole point of here is that is there something wrong with your position that you don't want to declare it?
Nothing wrong.
If there isn't, then start with this first. So our position as Ahmadis is, and give us the position, and then you can say we think that your position is similar because X and X, Y, Z, right?
Okay.
So the first question I'm asking you is here: when the Quran is being used here to as an evidence to show that Yahya alayhi salam is superior to Isa alayhi salam, this is how the verse is being used. Is the Quran being misrepresented?
No, Quran is not being misrepresented here, just as Ibn Taymiyyah was not.
Imran bhai, I can explain your question if you allow me, Imran bhai. Okay.
Please do, please do.
Quran is
Okay,
not being-
Rahil bhai, just
Brother,
Rahil bhai,
one second.
Just for a
Because he made a
second.
comment. Brother, please, it's very respectful. Brother Imran made a comment. He said that you Ahmadis, when you come, you don't give your. When I came on, the first thing I did is gave my position and said that these are the categorical reference upon which this premise is based upon. So I think that's misrepresentation.
No, I'll clarify for you. I'll explain.
Imran bhai, I clarify for him if you allow me.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Rahil, okay, Rahil, listen. For a moment, forget about Mirza Ghulam, forget about everything. Okay, we are just reading Quran. Quran calls Yahya alayhi salam as Husuran, and Quran does not call Isa alayhi salam as Husuran. Why?
It's not a clever question.
No, I did not ask. Simple question.
It's a choice of Allah the Almighty, the words He want to use for His
What is-
prophet. Why is Isa alayhi salam not called
I
Khatam
explained to you,
al-Nabiyyin?
brother. Wait. We go point to point. My brother will go point.
Isa is not called
My
Khatam
brother.
al-Nabiyyin.
Rahil, let me speak first, okay?
Yeah.
So there is one understanding you are trying to create and defend, and that is that okay, it is Allah's choice. Allah called Yahya Husuran. Allah did not call Isa Husuran. That's your position you're taking right now. What Imran, by myself, we are all trying to explain to every single Ahmadi. Mirza Ghulam give a different explanation. He said that the reason Allah is calling one Husuran and other one not Husuran. He said Allah. Now it is about Allah. If these things were pure allegation, just lies, they would not have stopped Allah, because Mirza Ghulam is telling us that this is the reason why Allah did not call Isa as Husuran or chaste, and Allah did call Yahya as Husuran. So I can see that you wanted it to be the case, but Rahil, understand. You are giving us one answer. Mirza Ghulam is giving us a completely different answer, and his answer is confirming the allegations of the enemies of Isa. That's the point being discussed.
Okay, finished. Now it's my point was it's not
Yes.
the case. It's not the case. So because as I mentioned to you, a word which is not used for Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, and I want to ask you, what is the understanding of Hasuran by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam?
I need to check. I need to check.
So you need to check and tell me what
Yes.
does Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has mentioned about Hasuran
Have you
specifically.
checked? No, have you checked?
I've read
Okay,
it.
tell us.
And I'll mention it after this response. Because otherwise, you said certain things and I'll respond. I've read it and I'll mention it after this.
Can you please tell us the surah first? The surah thing?
I'll tell you, don't worry. So the point is this, that Husuran, the word you've used, the promised Messiah Islam believes Isa alayhi salatu wasalam and his mother and his other four brothers in Qadiani, he says, to be chaste and from Allah the Almighty. You understand the point I'm making? If Allah the Almighty has not, listen, okay, don't listen, but let me give my answer. Don't interject. If Allah has not used the word Hasuran for Isa alayhi salatu wasalam in the general understanding, it does not mean that he was not chaste. You're getting my point? But in an accusative answer, just as Ibn Taymiyyah has used it, it's not the reality, my friend. It's their understanding. So if they're using the Holy Quran to suggest his greatness, the Prophet Messiah said Hasuran has not been used for him, and it means to be chaste. And in your Bible, this man is being accused of what? Of being with being a drunkard, na'udhu billah, and being with the prostitute, right? This is your Bible. So now look, the context is clear. He's speaking to the
Now
Christians.
tell us. Now you need to tell us.
Last point.
You said that you will tell us
the same way Isa alayhi salam is not called Khatam al-Nabiyyin and Rasulullah is called Khatam al-Nabiyyin. It's the same way he's not called he's not called Hasuran. It's Allah's choice. It's Allah's choice of words. His titles that he wants to give his prophet. So
Rahil, simple question. You said that you are going to tell us that Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam explained for us that why Isa is not called Hasura? Please tell us.
No, I said, didn't say that. I said, what is the meaning of Hasur and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given for Hazrat Yahya? If I said something again, before this, which is not what I'm stating now, then I'm correcting my position. What is the definition that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given about
Can I
Hasur?
rephrase my question, Rahil? Can I rephrase my question? My question is, we are both discussing that Isa alayhi salam is not called Hasuran, Yahya is called Hasuran. You
Yes.
gave us one explanation. Mirza Ghulam gave us one explanation. Now you are going to tell us that the explanation coming from Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Give us that one.
No, I asked you a question. Actually,
Rahil, can you give me
this is on the
the? Can you give me the Hasura first?
Yes, 1 second. Yeah, I'm putting it up on. I'm trying to.
So
put it
you
up on
said
the
you checked already.
I'm putting it up on the screen for you, brother. I was asking you, what is the definition that's been given for Hasur in Hadith by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam for Yahya?
Give us. You are telling us. Yes, tell
Do
us.
you know about it?
Brother, tell us. Educate us. Tell us.
I'm asking you first. Do you know about it?
My brother, I have given you a simple answer. I have not checked. You tell us.
Okay, 1 sec. I'm putting it up on the screen here. 1 sec. Oh, forgive me because it's the
No,
first
take
time.
your time. Take your
I'm
time.
actually I'm sharing my screen here. Okay.
Take your time, brother. All good.
Jazakallah, thank you. Right. Okay, yeah, I've got it. So now share screen, present share screen one. Yeah, that's the one. Can you see it? Can you see it on the screen?
I'll just bring it up. So if you can expand it for me, maybe a little bit more, so it's fitting the screen.
Sorry, what is it doing?
So if you can expand into it, so it's the width of the screen, and that way it can be read a bit easier by everyone.
Is it better?
Yes, better.
Brother Imtiaz, can you please read for the listeners? Okay, I'm asking a question. Brother Imtiaz loves asking questions, okay? And we've been coming and answering the. I want Brother Imtiaz to tell the listeners, whoever's watching for 500, what is the definition of Hasur that the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has given him?
Rahil, you are going to tell us. Please
I'm asking
read.
you.
And
I'm asking you, brother. I'm asking you.
I have
brother.
given you.
consider you to be a scholar. Bismillah.
Rahil.
Please.
Look, we are having a very good conversation. If you want to test Arabic, I can test you right now. Do you want to?
Brother, I'm not testing your Arabic. Wallahi. I'm
Okay,
not
then
testing you.
listen. Then listen. My point is.
Don't get emotional. Don't get
Listen,
emotional.
brother.
I'm establishing a different point. I want you to tell us.
Brother,
Please don't
can
take
you read
everything
it,
like that.
please? Read it. Read it.
What is the understanding? Okay, so when it says
Yeah, read
here,
it. Read it.
no, so Umar ibn al-As radiyallahu حدثني عمر بن العاص رضي الله عنه أنه
Sorry.
سمع رسول
Haddathani who?
Amr ibn al-As. Is that not what it says?
Oh yeah, I can look bigger. Yes. Sorry. My screen was small. Yeah.
Amr ibn al-As رضي الله عنه أنه سمع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, he heard the Holy Prophet say, كل بني آدم يأتي يوم القيامة وله ذنب. Every man would come on the day of judgment and he would have a sin. إلا ما كان, what is it? ما كان من يحيى بن زكريا. Except for Yahya bin Zakaria. قال ثم دل رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يده إلى الأرض فأخذ عودا صغيرا ثم قال وذلك أنه لم يكن له ما للرجال إلا مثل هذا العود ولذلك سماه الله سيدا وحصورا ونبيا من الصالحين. So I want you to translate it.
Rahil, can you translate it which you presented?
I'm asking you, brother.
Imran bhai, I don't know what he's trying to say.
I'll tell you what I'm trying to do. Wallahi, what I'm trying to do. It is very easy for the Christians, it's very easy for the atheists, it's very easy for those who want to attack Islam, is to use sources and bring things and attack Islam. That's as you've been doing for the past 5 or 6 months. We've been calling you to come to our streams and discuss Aqaid, Wafat Masih, Khatm Nabuwa. My brother, what's his name? Adnan, she starts with, Ma kana Muhammadun aba ahadin min rijalikum. Right?
Rahil,
And
can you translate this one?
Translate it. I want you to translate. It's my humble request. I want you to translate. I will translate it.
Okay, let me ask you a question before I translate.
No
Do you
question.
believe-
Translate.
Brother,
Translate.
Because it has to
Do
be
you
productive. Because this is not going anywhere the way you're doing this.
Imran bhai,
Because what's happening is no one is following anything. Because the whole point here is,
They will follow in a bit. In about few minutes, everything will become apparent.
so-
I want him to translate it.
so make it clear.
can you translate this one, Rahil, so we can have conversation? Is it okay?
Brother Imtiaz, can you translate or not? Just say I can't.
No, I
translate.
can't. I can't. Okay, please translate.
So it says that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said everyone on Qiyamah comes with sin except Yahya. Then he got a small piece of twig or something and said his private part was like this. وَلِذَلِكَ سَمَّاهُ اللَّهُ سَيِّدًا وَحَصُورًا. And this is the reason Allah the Almighty named him Sayyidan wa Hasuran wa Nabiyyan min as-Salih.
Okay.
Can you explain the meaning? Can you explain the meaning of this?
Brother, you brought a quote. Explain it.
You bring. What is
Listen to me. I brought a quotation for you to explain it to the viewers. You're saying the Hasuran.
You said you were going to explain the meaning.
You are attacking the Prophet Muhammad where I gave you the entire context in how
Rahil, can you explain it? Can you explain it bit by bit?
I've explained
bit by
it.
bit.
I've read
No,
it.
we didn't. No,
You
please,
explain
bit by
it,
bit.
brother. You are the scholar of Hadith. We're learning from you. Bismillah, explain it.
Imran bhai, what can I do now?
What is the understanding? What is the understanding of a small piece of twig or something, and said his private part was like this?
What do you think it means?
No, I'm asking you.
No, you're the one who thinks this means something, and
No.
you're presenting this as some sort of explanation of the statement that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad makes using that term.
No, I'm not presenting as an explanation.
One
I'll tell you
second,
why
I'm explaining to you that using this term specifically, they're saying that this gave Yahya a superiority over Isa alayhi salam. This status of Hasul, whatever that is, however you think you're wanting to define it, that this gave Yahya alayhi salam as a something of superiority over Isa alayhi salam.
Did I say that? Did I say that?
So now, if you're quoting
Did I say
something, you
that?
think, but this is what I mean. Because what you're doing, this is not You're not explaining anything here. You seem to think that you have a point to make. Make
You
the
are
point.
claiming to be the scholars of Islam. You're doing
No, we're
an
not.
entire.
No one's made the claim
You
to be a
don't
scholar of
consider me a
Islam.
Muslim. You don't consider me a Muslim. So I'm coming to you with the
You don't
hadith of the
consider.
Prophet.
One second. Sorry, one second,
Listen,
brother.
listen.
Imran bhai,
Ahmed,
let
one
him
second,
translate this one. Imran bhai, let him
One
translate this.
I will want him to
already
translate.
translated it.
1 second before you
Brother
get.
Imtiaz understands what it means. But he doesn't
Anyone?
want to comment
No,
on it.
no, it's very important. I think you should translate this. It's important
Then
because you want to
Imtiaz,
understand.
Bismillah.
Because what you're quoting here goes against the statement of Mirza
Yes,
Ghulam Ahmad.
yes,
It's a
yes,
direct contradiction. What you're quoting here is you're providing more evidence against the statement of
yes.
Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. But
No,
I
it
want to clarify this point. If you believe in a prophet that has come, that the people are rejecting, then you are saying but de facto the people who rejected that prophet are not believers. So you are in the same position as regarding the vast majority of all the Muslims around the world, all of them as being non-Muslim. So this game of you believe me as a non-Muslim, and there's no point in doing this.
But Imran, the point
please,
is,
what you should do, what would be good?
your scholars who have authenticated it as Sahih. I'm asking you, what's the
Translate
meaning
us.
of Hasur that's been given here?
But
What's the meaning of Hasur that's been
you've
given?
read it. Translate it. What's the problem with
I
translating?
did translate.
Translate
I did
it.
translate it.
Go on, then go
Not
for
a
it.
trust. Okay, Imran bhai, let me say something. Now listen what I'm going to say now.
Please.
My brother Rahil, we are having a very good conversation. My request to you is let's keep it the same way. You said that you are going to teach us that
Yes.
how Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has explained the meanings of Hasura for Yahya alayhi salam.